Okay, hello. So I'm glad you all are joining us today. I'm here with Brandi Del Rio, a good friend of mine and covenant coach, fellow covenant coach. And we just are on here. We're going to hear some of her story and just get to know her. And the big thing is that we are both coaches, and God led us to this place of becoming a coach. And Brandy, can you share just a little bit of why you stepped into the covenant coaching?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Jackie, so much for having me here today. It's such an honor to do life with you. You're so amazing. And I love your heart for people. I love your heart to get the message out of who covenant coaches are, why we are different, and who we're for. And so thank you.
Yeah.
When I have absolutely loved personal development for about 21 years. I came into personal development when I was 18 years old, and I fell in love with it. Like, it was just awesome. Like, I loved the energy and the vibration and the frequency of it. And from 18 to 33, 34, I went through a lot of highs and lows in my life. And so this is kind of the longer version of how I came into Covenant Coach Academy.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you a background. I'm giving you a background of it because I want people to know that, like, this isn't my first rodeo. This isn't, this is something that I genuinely have a love for people. And that would probably be the short answer, is why did you come into Covenant Coach Academy? Because I have a genuine love for people, and I have a genuine love for people to know their true value and what and how they were created and who they're meant to be and where they can go when they know that the possibilities are endless.
Right.
And I struggled for years with perfectionism, with comparison, with just trying to do all the things, right? The labels of what people put on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to drug and alcohol addiction. Like, I started using and abusing drugs and alcohol at a very young age because I got really good at performing and being, just being, all the things, and just being able to walk out. And I can remember, like, walk in like you own the place and throw your shoulders back and smile and eye contact. And so by the time I was 11 years old, people thought I was probably 15 or 16 because I was doing all of those things. And as I got further along in my life, I continued to invest and seek out different areas to get freed from drug and alcohol addiction, and going to doctors, going to rehab centers. I went to a drug and alcohol addiction rehab center twice. I went through 2 different programs. Then even after I went through those programs and I was clean and sober, I chose to invest into myself to go into like a mental awareness outpatient program. But let's just be real. It was a psychiatric treatment center.
Oh, that's great.
I told my counselor I was working with, I'm like, you are sneaky. Because she's like, this outpatient program is so amazing, Brandi. It's going to help you create healthy boundaries. It's going to help you have healthy communication. So I'm like, awesome. That sounds amazing. Because what I had found that after I got sober, Jackie, I thought the heavens were going to part and the angels were going to come down and feathers were going to fan me. And I thought my life was just going to be like this golden path that I would just stroll down and money would just come after me. Like, once I got clean and sober, I literally thought that's how my life was going to be. And what I found was that it wasn't. Like, I still had crazy tormenting thoughts. I still went through deep, dark depression cycles, and I was just empty. And it literally didn't matter what I did. I still felt empty. And fast forward, that ended up being a super awesome program. I went through that. It was a month-long program where it was an outpatient, and they taught me healthy boundaries, healthy communication, how to say no. I'm like, what? it's okay to say no. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
fast forward, I'm married. I have an amazing, incredible husband. I'm a girl from Alaska who always wanted to live in California. It was like a dream of mine to live in California, be married, and have kids. And a year ago, October of 2021, or excuse me, October of 2020, I found myself living in California, married with a husband who is incredible, with 3 beautiful children, 5 bonus children. So I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I live in California, and I was so empty.
Wow.
And I was like,
What did you
what is,
do with that emptiness?
I got on my face and prayed and was like, God, and I was blaming a lot of other people, a lot of circumstances and situations in my life.
Mhm.
My husband and I had a conversation, and something happened, and this is like super raw. I overheard a conversation with him. I've never shared this with anybody. This is the first time I've ever shared this.
Wow.
I was really struggling. We were really struggling in our marriage. I was really struggling on the inside of like who I was and what life was all about. I was so mad at myself for being mad. I'm like, how dare you, you ungrateful Bia? Like, you have a husband and children in California and like all the things. Why are you empty? You're so ungrateful. Just beating myself up. And we were seeking out counselors. We were doing marriage mentorships and marriage counseling and working with individual counselors. And I overheard a conversation with my husband where he was telling somebody that he had made, an error, so to speak. And he had an experience that he chose not to share with me. And he told this gentleman on the phone, he said, yeah, I haven't even told Brandi yet. He's like, it's just been a really rough season. And so I haven't figured out the right way to tell her, but I will eventually. And I was like, oh my gosh, that just hit me, because I would have bet $1 million if somebody would have said to me, hey, if Rogelio went through this experience, do you think he would ever tell you? Absolutely. We tell each other everything. He would totally tell me.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm sitting there listening to my husband share that he wasn't able to tell me, that a few months had already gone by. And I was like, Lord, I'm so sorry, because that was the last person that I wanted to become. I wanted to be a safe place for my husband, and I wasn't. And so in prayer, God gave me a name, and he kept showing a woman's face to me. He kept showing me Danielle Fenster. And I hadn't talked to Danielle in a couple of years. I had known her at that time for about 4 years. We had done quite a bit of personal development together, different events. We did a photo shoot in London together. It had an amazing, incredible experience there, but we hadn't really spoke for a couple of years, but he kept bringing her face to me. And so I reached out to her, and she shared with me that she was now coaching and that she would love to work with me. And she was sharing with me like, oh gosh, I hear all the things, like, this is simple, Brandi, like we can get through this. And I'm like, what? Because I was even in debilitating pain, Jackie, like my body had shut down on me. I had twins that were at that time about 10 months old, and I could not bend over to put my own shoes on. I couldn't put my pants on. The doctors were telling me that I had arthritis in my spine, that I had 4 infused discs, and that I wasn't supposed to pick up anything over 10 pounds. I'm like, are you kidding me? I have 2 10-month-old babies and a 19 or like a 20. I had like a 2.5-year-old, right? So I started working with Danielle.
Is that the key here is that you called out to God, and then you listened to what he told you to do. You know, that picture of your friend that he brought up, and then you acted out on it. You know, how many of us go through times of that, and we maybe cry out to God, but then we don't do what he says, right?
True.
And so I see that as key, that you did the thing, you cried out to him, and then you did the thing he said.
Wow.
So
Thanks, Jen.
anyway, yeah, can
No, it was powerful. And because I didn't know what she was doing. And so my husband and I got together and we chose to, make one of the biggest investments I had made in my life on an individual basis. And I said yes. And I started working with her. And I remember my husband even said to me, he's like, oh my gosh, Brandi, I could totally see you doing what she does. And I'm like, don't you dare put that kind of pressure on me. I'm like, no way. I just want to be happy in my own skin. I just want to like who I see when I look in the mirror. Right.
right.
And within a couple of months, big shifts started happening. And I really value Danielle and where she's come from in her life and where she is and where she's going. And she was sharing with me about Hannah Keeley, who is, the CEO of Covenant Coach Academy, and that she's actually had like intimate time with her in her home, and just how real she is, and how Hannah has 7 children and she has grandchildren. And that the times that Danielle's been in her home, Hannah's adult children come and Danielle's like, they just hang out. Like they have their own home, but they come to their moms and hang out because they just love to be together. And she's like, and they all have different personalities and they all still like banter. She's like, but Brandi, it's in like this like really healthy, peaceful, exciting, cool way. She's like, I've never seen anything like it. She's like, it's still honoring, but they disagree. Yeah. And so that really intrigued me because I am raising 3 boys that are 3 and under. And I also have bonus children that are in my home on a monthly basis that I take on as my own, that are teenagers. Right. And I desire to have that connection with them. And I desire to do things different. And I had found myself saying some things to my children that I told myself I didn't ever want to do, in regards to like perfectionism, right? And controlling, like needing to control, needing things to be perfect, and like comparing myself to other people, and then comparing and then wanting, it was not healthy, to say the least. There was not peace at all. And
it's cool that the thing is, with the coaching and the investment you made, it not only changed your life, but it's changing the way your family runs. And then even down the road, as the kids get older, all those relationships and how they relate to others. So it's such a huge thing to invest in ourselves so that we can
big time. It is honestly the best investment I have ever made in myself, is going through Covenant Coach Academy. And what's been powerful, and I've made a lot of investments in myself. I've invested over $300,000 in personal development in just 5 years. In 5 years, so if you were to add up 21 years and my rehab programs, it's probably over $1 million for sure, easily. Because one of my rehab programs was $18,000. But I say that because I entered into Covenant Coach Academy desiring to learn healthy communication with my family and healthy communication when I interact with people on the street. Because like I said at the very beginning of this call, I genuinely love to speak into people's life. I genuinely love to encourage and champion people and cheer them on and say, yes, like, let's do this together. And God has gifted me with the ability to be able to see people in their true identity, even before they see it themselves. Right. And
I met in you when I interacted with you. I think we met a couple years ago, and right away, we were interacting, and I've seen that in you, that you love people, you have a heart for them, you want to see them move forward and grow and be all they can be, and that's huge.
So it was powerful because I'll be raw. I'm very raw and real, and probably tell too many of the deep, dark truths. I thought that I was going to enter into Covenant Coach Academy and like hit it out the park because I love to talk and I love to communicate with people. And what I found was that Covenant Coach Academy is different than anything I've ever come across in my life. It actually brought me to tears multiple weeks in the beginning because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is radically challenging me. And I remember God saying, Brandi, you told me you wanted different. If you want different, you're going to have to learn different, be different, right? And being different when you're grounded in truth is so powerful.
Yeah.
And the powerful tools that Covenant Coach Academy gives you to empower people in their true identity. It's not about forcing our thoughts and opinions upon anybody. Every single person already has everything that they need inside of them. And we get to, as covenant coaches, go in and just help dig with them, right? I use the analogy that like, we're all born with a gold mine. Every single person is born with a gold mine inside of them.
Yeah.
But some of us have just built a landfill on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And some landfills are bigger than others. And so we just get to come in and it's like, if you knew, like some people see this, oh, I have this landfill. Oh, that place is gross. Da, da, da. But if you knew that that landfill had a gold mine underneath it, would you take the time to gut out the landfill? Right. Yes, you would. And that's what we get to do. We get to come in with people and say, hey, let's not allow this to take 10 to 20 years. Let's gut this out in 10 to 20 weeks, right? So you can start tapping into the gold mine that's already inside of you.
Yes. And I know a couple of years ago, there was a word that came out by some of the bigger ministers that we were going into acceleration time. And as you speak that, I see that, yeah, it doesn't have to take a long time to get through all the stuff of our past.
Mm-hmm.
If we have the right tools, which us covenant coaches have been given the right tools to help people. And the 2 verses God gave me for my coaching are helping people throw off the weights that so easily entangle, and so they can run their race.
Yes.
Also forgetting the past so that they can reach the high call of God. And so that's what I just see, like, okay, let's get those weights off that are keeping you stuck, you know.
Mm-hmm. Think about if you were underwater and you had weights on you. It's going to be really hard to rise to the top, right? And it's also going to be really hard to like get down and get the weights off yourself. But you got a covenant coach come in who's like deep dive. They got their scuba mask on and they're willing to like help you undo your weights. And once you get those weights off, it's like, bam. I mean, that's why so many of our clients are having accelerated results and incredible results that were taking them 10, 20 years. I mean, myself is a prime example. I've been investing into myself for 21 years. However, the results were still fairly the same. My results in this last year from starting to invest with a covenant coach in October to now, 14 months later, my husband and I's company doubled in revenue, We had, in the last 5 years, we were like niching, maybe a 10% increase or 15% increase, 8% increase. And we had 100% increase this year. I am in the best shape of my life. I'm 40 years old. I have 3 babies, 3 and under, and I'm in the best shape of my life. My husband and I's marriage is actually like healthy communication, to the point where my husband even went through Covenant Coach Academy as well. My husband also went through Covenant Coach Academy because he saw the change in me. And he saw that if you speak with people on a daily basis, having a covenant coach and having the tools of Covenant Coach Academy will empower you in any avenue of your life.
Wow.
So he does, he's the CEO of a landscape business, yet he talks to clients every single day. and multiple people, merchants accounts, right? Like he's talking to 10 to 20 people minimum a day. And so he's using the tools from Covenant Coach Academy to be able to equip himself. And then what it's finding is when you're equipped with the tools, he's more grounded. So things that used to make him like fly off the handle and like ruin his day, he's now shifting in like a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, which is now creating a peaceful atmosphere.
Right.
Pardon me?
I said, and it's making a difference. All his employees, all the people he's working with, whoever he runs into, he's bringing God right there.
Yes. You know? And he's choosing to see it as a discipleship, right? He chooses to see our landscape company as a discipleship for men, to empower men to be the best men that they can be, because he knows that if he's sowing into them, then they're going to be great fathers, great husbands, great sons, great brothers, right? And that is what is most important to him in creating a legacy of who, you know, what has Del Rio Landscape been able to do? Yeah, we did umpteen million in sales over however many years. No, we help disciple men to know their true identity as sons of a living God,
right?
Who can provide for their wives and family, who can spend time with their children, right?
Yeah, that's
so
what
it's been beautiful
for, is to connect. That's, I was saying, that's what business is created for, is to connect with each other and just be in that space where we can encourage each other and share our giftings with each other. And it's huge. I mean,
it's so huge. And the atmosphere, right? So one of the things that I was striving for, and I just even said it last night with him, I said, love having harmony and peace. Like I love harmony and peace. And I was sharing with him, it is possible to live in harmony and peace, right? And things that used to throw him, you know, when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars and multiple people on contractors and people in the ways of the world as well, there's a lot of things coming at you. And in the last 5.5 years, there have been situations that have thrown a boulder in our home for 2 and 3 weeks. Sometimes it was taking my husband to like work through some things, right? And grow and get and seek understanding. Whereas now, as he's been equipped with Covenant Coach Academy tools and the teachings of it, he's shifting through things like within hours, not even days anymore. It's like hours.
Well,
I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. You cannot put a price tag on that.
What happens is we throw off all the weights and the mindsets that are keeping us stuck and in those same ruts. And it allows the Spirit of God, because the peace actually is within us. It doesn't matter what's going on around. And so that's what he's able to open up now. And you have been that peace is right here. So anything can be going on and you just like, well, it's not going to affect me, you know, because Jesus says he is our peace.
Yes.
You know,
it's still like, I'm not going to sit here and, say it's like all butterflies and roses. There's still, I mean, that's my point, is that we're having things still come at us, and he's having situations still come at him, even more intense than some in the past. However, he's taking the time to seek God and utilize the tools that he has in his tool belt from CCA, and it's shifting everything. It's way more peace in our marriage, way more peace in our home.
That's huge. Yeah. So what do you see moving forward for you, Brandi? What's in 2022?
So 2022 is super exciting. I am stepping out in faith of my calling that I know to be true since I was a little girl, which is to encourage, speak love and light and truth into people's lives. And we are moving forward in the course that we just launched We did a pre-sale for it, and it's called For the One Who Believes. And we have taken and compacted pretty much 21 years of my personal development into 10 weeks. That way, women don't have to seek out or take 21 years. Women don't have to seek out 10 different programs or 10 different events. Myself, along with 9 other women, have chose to create a 10-week course that is bringing women truth and value in all the areas that they excel and are experts in their life on a weekly basis. So it's brand new. We just launched our new corporation, our LLC. I'm a brand new CEO. And it's scary, and it has all the butterflies and everything, but I'm being obedient to God in the fact that I cannot, as you can see, I can't keep quiet about this, right? Like, for something that I had been seeking for 21 years to finally come to fruition in 1 year, I'm like, oh my goodness, right?
Yeah. And it's gonna make, if anyone's interested, look into that, because Brandi's amazing. I know the women that you've chose to be on that in that program with you, amazing women. I know some of them, and it's going to make such a difference in the lives of.
Well, and we're excited because we know that there are other women out there who are seeking God, who are doing all of the things, right? They're serving in their church. They're paying their tithing. They're baking the baked goods for the people down the street. They're, in ministry, and they're doing. They're waking up. They're putting their hair and makeup on. They're dressing nice. Yet they feel so disconnected to the world, and there's still some kind of emptiness inside of them. And they are starting to even find themselves going like, is this all that life really has to offer? Really?
Right.
And so they're continuing to invest in themselves. They're continuing to push forward. They're reading the self-help books, right? They're seeking God, yet for some reason, there's still some kind of emptiness inside of them.
Yeah, they're seeking more, and they have more inside of them. I think that's what they're feeling too, is like God has put so much more inside of us than we've walked out to this point, a lot of us. And so
totally. And like, what I found was that once I stopped striving to do better,
right,
it really allowed God to have the space to show up and work through me and in me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like that saying, let go and let God. And we often think, how do we do that? But it's just like, okay, God.
Well, and that was the thing, is like, yeah, we can sit here and quote Bible verses and scripture verses, and we can say, the statements, let go and let God. However, what does that look like? Like, what does that look like? And that's what my heart was for, is that, I'm a visual learner. And I've been able to, like I said, we invested over $300,000 the last 5 years, and over $100,000 in just this last year. Right. And so my heart is like, oh my goodness, I finally, this is actually clicking. And it's not just about me, and it's not just about one other person or 2 other people. There's actually 10 women who are walking out the truth and showing women, this is how you let go and let God in this area of your life. And then another woman will speak to what her expertise is. This is how you let go and let God in this area of your life, right? Because we can recognize all day that we struggle with perfectionism. We struggle with comparison. We struggle with control, knowing we need to let go of control. However, yes, that's the first step. Good job on you. All I know is I recognized it for 20 years. Okay. But I was still like,
yeah. So Brandi, is there a link or anything that you can put in the comments?
To find out more about the course, you would go to forthewhonewhobelieves.com, www.forthewhonewhobelieves.com. We just closed open enrollment, and we'll be relaunching open enrollment in February. So you can go now though to see the mentors, read about the mentors, read about the program, who they are, and we can get you on a call to see if you're somebody who's ready to, because it's life transformational, like you know, and so we are being really specific in who we want to bring into this intimate setting, because we want people who are ready, who not just they're investing, but they're also ready, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the most crazy ride of your life. And it's nuts. I was telling my mom, I'm like, I've never experienced peace and excitement. Like whenever there was excitement, it was like, right?
Yeah.
And whenever there was peace, it was like, I think I want to lay down and take a nap.
Right.
So to have like peace and excitement, I'm like, this is so new. This is so cool. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
And it's sustainable, right? It's sustainable. I can attest to it for over 6 months now that it's sustainable. Yes, I have had bumps in the road and I have had some dips. However, they have not been boulders in the road and they have not been scuba dives.
Right.
Right? Does that make sense?
Shorter time and not as low.
Smaller, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, Brandi, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being raw and real. And thank you for introducing this course. And I would encourage anyone that's wondering, that's wanting to go to the next step, look into forthewhonewhobelieves.com. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. And just start checking things out. There is a way to get out of the spot you're in, that stuck spot, and move forward. So anyway.
And vice versa, I want to turn around and champion you and say, anybody that is interested in being a coach or going through Covenant Coach Academy, make sure you connect with Jackie, because I think it's actually open enrollment pretty soon to get into Covenant Coach Academy. And it will be the best investment you ever make in your life.
It's been huge in my life too.
And having a coach is like having a tour guide, right? It's like having a tour guide. If you're going to go to another country, do you just go without looking into anything? Or do you want to go and just take the recommendations of a friend? Or do you want a tour guide who's an expert to give you the best experience?
Right. Yeah. I like how you explained that. That's great.
And Jackie is an incredible tour guide. And Jackie has helped me just from a friend basis to really walk through and be rooted in truth and be reminded and just polish the diamond that I am. So thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.